What's your inspiration? For me, I think it's drawing what's going on around me and in life. I'm SofsDoodles. I mostly do doodle art, but I've also done paintings and big pieces that cover walls. And today, I'm going to be teaching you how to do a 4-panel comic. It's nice to meet you. Hi everyone, I'm SofsDoodles, Malaysian doodle artist, and also the artist behind the comic book SofsDoodles, Returning to My Roots. Today I'm going to teach you how to do a 4-panel comic, but first I'm going to show you a fun activity to get the creative juices flowing. First, what is doodling? On Google it says doodling is a drawing a person makes when their mind is preoccupied, which means thinking about something else. For me, doodling is a way for one to express themselves, who they are, what's going on in their mind. Every story needs a character. Before we draw our story, we're going to decide what character to use. A character could be an object, an animal, or a person. Today we're going to choose what character to draw in a creative way. What you need is a paper, pen, and a drink. Step 1. Place your paper down, then dip your finger into your drink and make a stain on your paper. Step 2. Draw around your stain and take a moment to decide what the stain looks like. Step 3. Wait for the paper to dry a bit and then add a face. Start with the eyes, the nose, and then the mouth. And then you can add little details to make your character come to life. So I'm going to add some ears and a tail and some feet. Now we're going to draw the second character in your story. For this round, I invite you to take a look up into the sky. If you don't have any sky to look at, then you can use this photo I'm sharing on the video. What do the clouds look like? What character could they be? Maybe it's an animal or an object or a person. Draw the character that your cloud looks like. For me, my cloud looked like this. So now I have to turn it into a character. So I'm going to make the cloud into the hair. I'm going to add a face. Add some texture to the hair, and then add some eyes, a nose, a mouth, some ears, and to make it extra fun, some long, dangly earrings. Now I have my 2 characters. I'm going to put them into a story. So first, to do our 4-panel comic, I invite you to draw 4 panels, which in the comic world means 4 squares. So I'm going to draw 4 panels onto my page. Don't worry if your lines are wonky. Mine often aren't, and I think that's part of the beauty of doodling. It's okay to not be perfect. Now we have to think, how are we going to create a story in just 4 panels with our 2 characters? And to do this, I'm going to take an idea from Tim Stout's blog and split up my story into 4 different sections: context, goal, conflict, and resolution. Tim Stout calls this a 3-act story structure. And I thought this was a really great way to structure the story in your comics. I think structuring your story in this format helps create an interesting story. We'll dive into what each term means, but before we start, a bit of Comic 101. The space in between the panels is called a gutter. Sometimes comic artists can play with the gutter to make things pop out of their panel. And as I was saying, the squares that we're drawing in are called panels. So let's get started with panel number 1, context. So if you have no clue what your story is going to be about, that's okay. This is a great way to kind of let your story unfold. So for context, we're thinking about the who, whys, and where. We're basically telling the audience, okay, this is the character that I'm introducing to you, and this is where they are or what they're doing. So a bit of background information. So for me, I drew a cat. I'm going to make it to my own cat, who I call Kicap, and Kicap is going to be just waiting at home. So I put Kicap in a window, added a roof, added a door. It's going to be one of those classic Malaysian link houses. So I'm just thinking about that and drawing it. And that's my context. It's my cat Kicap, that's the who. Where in the house, kind of has a Malaysian vibe. And that's all I want my audience to know for now. I'm playing with foreground and background. That basically means what's in the front and what's in the back of a scene. So I put the gate right in the front, covering everything to give it some dimension. And for the text, I'm going to write, I'm feeling quite bored at home, to show that Kicap is feeling bored at the moment. So for panel number 2, we're going to think of what goal does your character have in your story. You can be as crazy as you want or as normal as you want, it's up to you. Here I'm going to introduce my second character, Kicap's owner, with the very, very long crazy hair. And the goal I thought of is Kicap wants to play with her owner with her favorite toy. So I have the owner in the foreground, Kicap in the background going meow, question mark. I put Kicap on a little bench by the window to continue from the first panel to the second panel, and I drew Kicap's toy on the floor. And I write, I want to play favorite toy with owner today, to show what Kicap's goal is, what's going on in her head, and what's her mission now. Feel free to write in the bottom underneath the panel or also on top of the panel, it's up to you. Now for the third panel, it's all about conflict. What makes a story good and juicy is that there's always a twist, and this is where we're going to put our twist. So Kicap wants to play with her owner, but her owner is just so engrossed in her work, she's just staring at the computer screen and tapping away. So I'm going to draw the owner now from a different angle just to keep it interesting. You see her on the computer tapping away at her keyboard. For this one, I'm just adding a bit more detail, drawing the owner's body, adding some personality to her, her dangly earrings, her flowery skirt. And now you see Kicap staring at her from the back of her head and saying meow in an angry tone. I made it angry by making the words really bold. And as I explained before, it's popping out of the panel into the gutter to show like it's really being amplified. You see a little angry cloud on top of Kicap's head to show that, yeah, she's mad. And You see the tapping from the owner on the keyboard, tap, tap, tapping, filling up the whole panel to show that, yeah, the noise is very overwhelming. And below the panel, I'm going to write, but she's been staring at that rectangle all day and making tapping sounds, to show you what Keychap's frustration is, what is her conflict. So for the last panel, it is the resolution. So basically, what does Keychap do to solve her conflict, her problem? So feel free to be as creative as you want to find a solution for your character. For me, I'm trying to be a bit more funny. So I'm drawing Keychap pouncing onto the table of her owner and just shoving the computer off. She has a big smug look on her face. I made her eyes close and give her a big smile to show what type of feeling she's having, so she's very proud. I put some thick lines to show the movement of the computer and Keychap, so you can see it physically, her shoving the computer off the table. And to make it even more wackier and comic-like, you see the little keyboard pieces flying out into the air because Keychap shoved the keyboard too. And I turned her little meow into a little cackle, so it says meow ha 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 ha. And then on the bottom right corner, I drew her owner shocked, and she's also mad because she also says Keychap. I'm making the font even bolder with my thick marker pen, and it's also leaving the panel into the gutter to also show that emphasis on the words, like she's shouting it. I'm also going to make the lines of Keychap pushing the computer thicker too, to even emphasize that push. So in the words, I wrote, now she will play. So just kind of a crazy, funny twist into the story. I put the sound effects of the computer falling to thump, crash, just to make it even more obvious. And of course, every artist needs to end their piece with their signature. So I'm going to do my classic SofsDoodles and put it by one of the panels. Thanks for joining me today to learn how to draw a 4-panel comic. Today we learned how to do character design and also how to tell a story. If you want to learn more about doodling and to see my future workshops, come follow me at SofsDoodles on Instagram. A big thanks to Chandana for supporting this workshop.